Hell yeah. Nice. Nice. Very cool. Good morning. What's going on? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to this fine Wednesday edition of Good Morning B Hannas. That's me. I'm B Hannas, Nikki B Hannas. I make music. That was some of it. To hear it correctly, to hear it full quality, nikkibhannas.com, nikkibhannas.bandcamp.com. Nikki B Hannas on all streaming services. This is my little morning talk show experiment. Mostly, definitely an experiment. I go live on YouTube when I do it, and I'm currently being plagued by technical difficulties. But, you can find it here, the BS with Behanna's channel on YouTube. It goes out to Spotify podcast, Apple Podcast, Amazon Audible, so on and so forth. Let me check my audio. Do I got it? Oh, man, I got it.
Let me check my audio.
Oh, and it sounds good, too.
Oh, man.
Hell yeah. Yesterday's little morning stream was I thought it was a great, compelling talk. The audio was all jacked up. It sounded like I was in a fucking fish tank or something. And I should have known because on my end, the stream was choppy on my video. There was no live chat option. So that seems to be a sign because and for whatever reason, the first time I try this in the morning, it doesn't come up with audio. It's got to be, I don't know if it's a me thing because I do all types of troubleshooting before I go. I don't know if it's a YouTube thing. I don't know if it's a matrix attack. Some fuckery there's some kind of fuckery at foot, but on what level I'm not certain, but that's okay because it ain't like I'm out here making money. It ain't like I'm out here fucking trying to run an enterprise. I'm mostly using this stream, this podcast, as an exercise in showing up every day. The gist of it is that I like to wake up and I take a walk. I like to read some good stuff. I like to talk to the people. Then I go lift some weights before I go to work. You know what I mean? I'm a working man. We're running a burger joint. Burger joint by day, rock and roller by night. Debatably. But, that's where I'm at in this life. And just as I read and study and try to shape my brain into the dream, really, I was scrolling, doom scrolling, as they say, looking through Instagram and shit yesterday. And I seen a post by Jordan Belfort, more commonly known as the Wolf of Wall Street. And he was talking about the American dream and how it used to be able to, allegedly, this is something I've touched on too, as a patriotic American, somewhere in the throes of what seems to be a dying empire, we all contemplate the American dream, and like it or not, money seems to run the fucking show. And, whatever, we could go on about that forever. But Jordan Belfort basically had said that the American dream used to be get a job, go to school, or rather go to school, get a job, get a house, get a family, get a house, live a life, eventually retire. And whether that's real or not, that's like the boomer, quote unquote, boomer generation. It seems to be the common arc to the well-adjusted, to the diligent, to the well-meaning, quote unquote, average. Now, I don't know if that's just a historical slant and it's all bullshit, or if it was mostly true. You have to run your own business, and then you can pursue the actual American dream, which is freedom. Freedom being having options, having autonomy, having choice. Freedom, autonomy, options, and choice as not dictated by money, requiring dollar per time ratios, which is fascinating. I'd like to become that kind of person. I'd like to do something in that regard more than just getting up and going to work. Getting up and going to work, taking what I can, having a little bit left over, and like I've said a bunch of times, I'm doing better than most, way, way worse than a lot. But that's also me getting outside of myself and not being present and not being grateful. Once I get into that comparative game, it's kind of a miasma. It doesn't really serve me. I should just keep my head down and focus on the task at hand. And that includes showing up every day. Now, what we show up and do every day gradually will come to define who we are. So, as it stands right now, shit, I'm a rock and roller, dude. Nikki B. Hannas, heavy blues, fucking metal. Some hard rock and roll. I'm sober. I lived my life partying and bullshitting all throughout my 20s. And there's a great redemption story of sorts to be written that includes showing up every day to write it as the author, to claim authority on my own life. If that means showing up in sunglasses, on YouTube, fighting technical difficulties and matrix attacks and shitty audio quality, so be it. That's about where I'm at. But to me, there's a certain amount of control and just tone setting and casting a good light on each day. If I can get up and do that, get up and take a nice fucking long walk, read some good stuff. This is the experiment of getting outside of my comfort zone. I don't script this. I'll have some notes about what I want to talk about, but otherwise I'm just free forming it. And then, yeah, fucking go lift some weights and get to work. Go tend to my body by the time I get to work usually. And now I'm locked into obligations and duty. I've covered a lot of bases in terms of self-development. I find that valuable. So no day is a waste. It's putting a little bit, adding to the pile, man. Keeping on. But sometimes it's weird. Sometimes I get real excited to do this. Some days I get like nervous. Like I feel like I'm fucking, you kind of got to battle that imposter syndrome. You kind of got to battle that, oh, I feel like a fraud. You really have to battle, what if someone finds out? What if they won't like me? Whatever, dude. Like I said, that's outcome dependent thinking instead of process oriented pursuits. And that's what I'm trying to be. I'd rather be a person who is a process oriented motherfucker than always worrying about what I get out of it. You'll get what you get. You'll get what you get, but that's some meta analysis, some metacognition for the day. And what was there to talk about? What was I thinking about today? Not a whole lot. The world's all weird. Still waiting for war. I think these motherfuckers are just playing with the population. They're just fucking dicking us around, swaying us, trying to get us all in a fucking frenzy. And it works. If you watch the news, it's stress inducing. You know what I mean? We'll find out. As much as I've stuck with and supported the Orange Man over the years for, domestic reasons, like fixing our fucking country, like fixing fucking all the things that are wrong here in the great United States of America. I thought it was about making it great, fixing the problems, removing the fucking corruption, removing the theft, removing, all this, the grand coercion that has been my life as a fucking millennial, dude. It's been fucking bogus and a farce from day one once you kind of once you peel behind a couple layers of the curtain. And now it's like, well, back to business as usual. The war machine must churn on. Big bad Orange Man's about to lose a lot of his fucking supporters, depending on what the fuck happens in the next couple of weeks. We'll find out. Way bigger than me. Way bigger than me. And it's very topical. Everyone's talking about World War III. What's going to happen with Iran and Israel and the United States of America and Russia and China? And it's like, well, we're all geopolitical experts now, just like we were all medical experts a few years back, just like we were all political science experts for the past 15. It's trying to, I'm always torn on staying out of it. I'd feel like a fucking loser just to go up here and be like, can you believe what Donald Trump said? Because I have disdain for those kinds of people. Can you believe what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said? Well, as it stands, I'm agreeing with her and Bernie more than I am with any of these other motherfuckers with a red next to their name. But I digress. That's okay. It's a weird thing. It's weird vibes. Weird vibes all throughout the fucking society right now, as I see it. Like I said the other day, there was a No Kings rally protest in my little town of Westchester, Pennsylvania last weekend. And they fucking arrested a guy for having a bunch of magazines on him and guns. And apparently it was a bayonet the guy had. And it was like a pretty low key thing at first. Then within the past day or two, the fucking cops searched his house, which is probably 20 minutes from the town where the protest was. They're saying they found like a pipe bomb and shit. Jesus Christ. What's fucking going on with these people? And now as soon as that news breaks, the whole world's out here like, well, that's what happens when you get MAGA base. And then other people are like, he's got to be a Democrat. They're the party of violence. Some of us are like, Jesus Christ, this is why I stay the fuck home. Other ones of us are like, that's MK Ultra. They're sending in their deployed assets. Rah, and it's just fucking like, dude, what the fuck is going on? There's pipe bombs in the suburbs, dog. This shit's because of the fucking media, and to what extent is the media culpable for all the problems? significantly, I would argue. But at the end of the day, individuals choose to do these things. So the question then becomes, what do we choose to do with what we got? For me, I walk and I ponder, I talk to the people, read some good stuff, lift weights, and go to work on this fine Wednesday morning. This muggy, fucked up, foggy. I walked outside. I felt like I was into a soup. Shitty, but a bunch of deer floating around. I like seeing the animals in my walks. It's calming, peaceful, dare I say. But it's interesting out here. The best choice is just to keep working on ourselves and tending to what we ought to tend to. And as I continue to experiment in this season of my life, I think life is definitely dictated by seasons for everybody. Mine, if I were to assess my life, it's definitely seasonal. Different eras and windows of time have different. When I look back, at least they all have different. They're codified that way. They're ingrained into my sense of self story. The story I tell myself is dictated by the spring of, I don't know, let's just say the whole probation era of 2015 into 16, and then there was when I moved from this spot to another in that same window, and then there was this girlfriend, there was that girlfriend, there was the season when the band was really crushing. It's very interesting. The one I'm in now is more focused than I've ever been, but not as focused as it needs to get. So we show up every day and keep doing the work. When I was listening to the one Taylor Welch video I'm still working my way through it. The Wealthy Consultant, shout out Taylor Welch. One quote stuck out to me that he said that those who control the meaning of a thing control the thing itself. Yep. And that sounds almost as if it could be some subjectivity based, postmodern based. Well, nothing means anything. All meaning is decentralized, so we get to choose. Now, that's a philosophical quandary, but in terms of metaphysical and quantum, success oriented thinking, I like that a lot. Those who control the meaning of a thing control the thing itself. Because how many people feel out of control in their lives? A lot of us. I've felt that way. Every now and then it creeps its head back up. Who feels out of control, like they don't have control over the story of their life? If you fucking don't control what your life means or what things you do or what the season of your life, you need to have some kind of insight and self-awareness, I think. If you have insight and self-awareness to define the meaning of where you're at in your life for your own purposes, you can kind of control it. It'll give you a better, I don't know how to put it, a better wind for your sails. You kind of control your own movement that way. You're not at the behest of things around you. How many people are just spiraling about imminent global war and they have no fucking control over their lives? It's very, very, very interesting. And I'm no expert. I'm still learning. I'm a student of the game at best. At fucking best. I'm a student of the game out here learning and developing and growing in real time, which is also part of the utility of getting behind a microphone and putting my face on video with some sunglasses on and shit. Yeah, sure, it promotes the music. It also builds a creative portfolio for me to the point where, I've been doing this podcast for about 3 weeks now, pretty steady. If I double that, if I do it for 6 weeks and I have 50 plus episodes, all of a sudden it's like, I've got a discography behind me and I've got a podcast, and that's a cool thing. Maybe 15 years ago, that would have been a dream to be the kind of guy who does that shit. Made myself the guy who does that shit. And it all comes from kind of knowing what each, controlling the meaning of things as they happen. It's fascinating. But anyway, that was just a small note, which ties in with my reading from John Maxwell, the John Maxwell Daily Reader today. One quote that stuck out to me was, one of the most important choices you will make is who you become. And just like controlling the meaning of a thing, a lot of people, myself included, I don't know how I was ever, again, how do you say it? I don't think I realized how much control I had over choosing who I was. I felt like I was just kind of who I was. What do you want? I am who I am. It is what it is. Those two things is like, those sentences and meanings change fundamentally depending on the tone of voice that you say them. I am who I am, or It is what it is. And do you say that with the Eeyore voice? The beaten, submissive, worn down, I am who I am. I'll never be anything different. It is what it is. Why should I expect anything else? Versus, I am who I am, motherfucker. This is me. It's way different. Orders of magnitude difference. It is what it is. This is what I do. Non-negotiable. Whole different attitude there. I found that interesting, and it ties in exactly with what my man Taylor was saying. And then the Daily Stoic today was pretty interesting too. I thought it was a good little passage. I'll end with this one today. We got June 18th. Prepared and active. This is a quote from Seneca. Let fate find us prepared and active. Here is the great soul, the one who surrenders to fate. I like how it's interesting to me when you read the old Greek writings, when they talk about fate or fortune, they're proper nouns. I guess they had a conceptual fate was among the gods, fortune was among the gods. It's interesting. The gods find you. It's a proper noun. Anyway, let me start over. From Seneca, let fate find us prepared and active. Here's the great soul, the one who surrenders to fate. The opposite is the weak and degenerate one, who struggles with and has a poor regard for the order of the world and seeks to correct the faults of the gods rather than their own. That's right. The weak and degenerate ones who seek to correct the faults of the gods rather than their own. It's exactly like Jordan Peterson's one rule for life. Clean your house before you criticize the world. Very similar to what Christ told us. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. AKA, worry about your motherfucking self. Do your best. Show up every day. That's what I'm doing. That's what I did. Fucking A. I'm out of here. It's too late now. Thanks for hanging out. Good morning, B. Hannas, on the BS with B. Hannas YouTube channel. That's me, Nikki B. Hannas. You can find this live on YouTube, on the YouTube channel, BS with B. Hannas, Spotify podcast, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Audible, iHeartRadio. You can find my music, heavy blues metal, some hard fucking rock and roll. NikkiBHannas.com, NikkiBHannas.bandcamp.com, Nikki B. Hannas on all streaming services. I'm out of here. Let's kill it today. Peace.